I told my husband that his affair child is not welcome in our home, and if he wants custody, he will have to move out. My husband and I have been married for 9 years. In 2021, we found out my husband was being sued for child support. Turns out my husband had an affair shortly after we were married. It nearly ended our marriage, but we went to counseling together and I agreed to stay in the marriage with the following provisions. My husband was to get a second job so that his child support payments did not affect our household budget, and at no point in time would I ever consider having a relationship with this child. If he wanted to pursue one with them, fine. But I have absolutely zero interest in this kid. So, my husband has been getting to know his kid over the past couple of years, and recently my husband came to me and informed me that there was some baby mama drama. She has to self-surrender in May and is going to be incarcerated for 8 months. My husband told me that he needed to take custody while his affair partner was locked up, otherwise, the kid would have to go to their grandparents who basically live on the opposite coast from us. Their kid doesn't want to have to change schools or be so far away from their friends, dad, and mom. She will be doing her time fairly local to us. So, after my husband told me that, I got up and left the house. I went to the grocery store on the corner, grabbed a copy of our area's apartment guide, and returned it to him. He asked if I was serious. I told him I still felt the same way as I did 3 years ago. He said he didn't think that was fair considering the extenuating circumstances. I told him I didn't care about the circumstances. His kid is not welcome in my home. If he wants to take custody, I will grant him an amicable divorce, but I am not changing my mind. I am not taking care of some other chick's kid. Edit for all the people concerned about what a whipcracker I am in making my poor husband work 2 jobs. He has never had a full-time job since we have been together. He works 2 part-time retail jobs now that add up to 40 to 50 hours a week. He currently only has supervised visitation with his kid. They see each other once or twice a month for a couple of hours with a social worker present. And for those who seem to think that I need to be the one to file for divorce, no, I will not. I am not the one who created this situation. If my husband wants to pursue custody, I have told him I will not fight it. I will grant him an amicable divorce and let him be on his way. However, I am not going to waste my own time, energy, and money to do so. He is responsible for getting his own ducks in a row for the situation he created. That includes being the one to go through the headache of filing.
I slept with another girl after she told me that she didn't want to become official. I've been casually seeing this girl Amy for a few months now. We've been sleeping together, and we might occasionally go out together, but for the most part, it's just late-night hookups. Even though our relationship is mostly just intercourse, I do enjoy her company outside of that, and she's definitely got more to offer. A few days ago, we were lying in bed, and I told her that I wanted to take things more seriously between us. She said,
I'm flattered. I really like you. The intercourse is great. You're a great guy. I want us to keep seeing each other, etc. But I'm not in a position to be your girlfriend or take a relationship seriously.
She basically gave the "it's not you, it's me" speech, but in many more words. It stung hearing that because I did want something more with her, but it is what it is. I'll take the L and move on. One of my boss's clients is this rich bastard who throws these big parties at his house 3 to 4 times a year. In the previous 2 parties that he threw, my boss invited me, and I took Amy as my +1, but I obviously didn't want to go with her this time. I hit up some people to see if anyone was interested, and this girl Lisa was down. Lisa and Amy turned out to be friends, not close friends, but they are connected on social media. I don't have social media, and I had no idea they knew each other. We ended up going together and hooked up by the end of the night. The next day, Amy starts blowing up my phone and starts going off on me for partying with another girl. At this point, I didn't even know how she knew, but then she said that she saw Lisa's Instagram stories or whatever it was. She was absolutely furious, but I told her that she had no right to be. She's not my girlfriend. She doesn't have any say in what I do or who I do it with. Amy asked me if I slept with Lisa, and I said that it was none of her business. She was absolutely raging, but I told her that I could do whatever I wanted with whoever I wanted because I was single. I told my fiancée that she's useless in an emergency and shouldn't brag about how tough she is. I, 25 male, have a child named Amy, 1 female, with my fiancée Jess, 24 female. We live together in one of the safest cities in the United States. About 4 months ago, Jess and I were walking home at night with Amy sleeping in her stroller. It was a suburban road that we've walked down hundreds of times. Suddenly, we heard several loud banging noises from around the corner. My first instinct was to check out where they came from, and so I jogged a couple of steps forward to peek and see what was going on. As it turns out, 2 teens were hitting the window of an SUV with a baseball bat. I watched them run away, get into a car, and peel out. I turned around to see Jess, but she wasn't there. I looked back the way we came to see her about 50 yards away, running like her life depended on it. I called out to her a few times, but she was obviously scared out of her mind and didn't hear me. A few minutes later, I called her on her phone, and she picked up. I explained that it was just a couple of dumb kids with a baseball bat. Jess sheepishly walked up a few minutes later, and I couldn't help but laugh at her. She said that she grew up in a rough neighborhood. She did not, and mistook the sound for gunshots. I actually did grow up in a bad neighborhood and told her they sounded nothing like gunshots. But what really stuck with me was her first instinct in an emergency was to abandon a 9-month-old baby and her fiancé to fend for themselves as she protected her own hide. Well, last night we were watching a documentary together, and there was a scene with a woman who was frozen in terror during an animal attack. Jess scoffed and said that if it were her, she would have fought back, especially if Amy were with her. I looked at her for a few seconds and then said,
"Yeah, you don't really know what you do."
Jess insisted that she would have fought tooth and nail against any threat against our daughter, to which I responded,
"Even a couple of kids breaking a car window with a baseball bat? Let's call it for what it is. You're kind of useless in an emergency."
Jess stood up, called me a dickhead, and walked away. It felt really creepy because she was victim blaming the woman in the documentary when she showed herself to be a coward of cosmic proportions. Were my words too harsh? I am breaking up with my girlfriend after a prenatal pregnancy test confirmed I was not the father. I, 26 male, was in a relationship with my girlfriend, 26 female, for almost 6 years. We loved each other, but last year, my girlfriend and I decided to separate for a while to rekindle our relationship. We placed no restrictions on the separation, and we were free to do whatever we wanted and act as we're single. We took a break for a couple of months. The break was much needed to recharge our relationship. A week after getting back together, my girlfriend showed signs of pregnancy. She got an at-home pregnancy test done which confirmed she was pregnant. We were both really overjoyed and happy. A few months later, I was planning on proposing to her, and I had already bought the engagement ring. But I wanted to confirm first that I was the father before proposing to her and getting the prenatal paternity test done. My girlfriend and I both wanted to do the NIPP test to confirm that I was the father. My girlfriend said she did have intercourse with someone during our break, so there was an off chance I wasn't the father. But we were both very confident that I would be the father. We received the results a couple of weeks later, and I wasn't the father. I was extremely sad and dejected, and my girlfriend was very sad too. It just hurt me a lot, and emotionally, I couldn't process it. A week later, I broke up with my girlfriend. The breakup was extremely traumatizing for my girlfriend, and even for me. I told my girlfriend that I just did not want to be the baby's father and that, if possible, she had to try and contact the bio father and let him know. I then helped her move back to her parents' home. Here's an update. So just a quick update, as a few people in the comments were wondering as to whether my ex knew who the bio dad was. I called my ex last night and asked her if she had found the bio dad, but she said no, that she just knew his first name, but didn't have his number or any social media. She had met him at the bar. It was pretty much a one-night stand. I asked her how her parents are taking it, and unfortunately, they aren't taking it too great, and they are being really critical of her. Her parents really like me, and they had no idea we even took a break. My ex was a bit of an emotional mess when I called her last night, and I really felt bad. I really wish that baby was mine. My ex and I really envisioned spending the rest of our life with each other. But it sadly isn't. I told my ex last night that was the last time I was going to call her and wished her well in her future. She was crying really badly at the end, and it pretty much broke my heart when I hung up.
We hope you enjoyed listening to today's stories. If you want to see more stories, check out these videos or check the links in the description for more videos. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And ring that notification bell.